Hello, this is Donna Lewis with the Clark County Park District, and today, in honor of our Mad Hatter Tea Party bags that we're offering right now, we are reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So this is by Lewis Carroll and illustrated by Charles Santore. So here is the beginning of the book. So The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, illustrated by Charles Santore. Here's a table of contents. Now, this book was actually written by Reverend Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, better known by his pseudonym Lewis Carroll. Now, he actually wrote it after a story that a child wrote. It was inspired by her, Alice Liddell. A little history there. This is our introduction, and we're not going to read that. Okay, so here is Alice with her sister. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. So I'm going to focus on this picture here. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? Suddenly, a white rabbit with pink eyes ran by her, saying, oh dear, I shall be too late." When the rabbit took a watch out of its waistcoat pocket, looked at it, and then hurried on, Alice jumped to her feet, for she had never before seen anything like it. Burning with curiosity, she ran after the rabbit and was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. So there's the rabbit. So then what happens to Alice? This is a really cool page. So she goes down, 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 down. Whoa. That'd be kind of scary. So we'll focus on her right here. In another moment, down went Alice after it, never once considering how in the world she would get out again. She had no time to think before she found herself falling down what seemed to be a very deep well. Alice tried to look down and see where she was going, but it was too dark to see anything. Then she looked at the sides of the well and noticed that they were filled with cupboards and bookshelves. She took a jar labeled orange marmalade from one of the shelves as she passed, but to her disappointment, it was very empty. She did not want to drop the jar, so she managed to put it into one of the cupboards as she fell past it. Well, thought Alice to herself, after a fall like this, I will think nothing of tumbling down the stairs. How brave they'll all think me at home. Down, down, down. Would the fall never come to an end? I wonder how many miles I've fallen by this time, she said aloud. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth. Down, down, down. There was nothing else to do, so Alice soon began talking again. My cat Dinah will miss me very much tonight, I should think. I hope they'll remember her saucer of milk at tea time. Dinah, my dear, I wish you were down here with me. So there she is, down at the bottom of this tunnel. And so then she sees some doors. Suddenly, thump, thump, down she came upon a heap of sticks and dry leaves, and the fall was over. Alice was not a bit hurt, and she jumped to her feet in a moment. In front of her was a long passage, and the white rabbit was hurrying down it. Alice was just in time to hear it say, as it turned a corner, "Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting." She was close behind it when she turned the corner, but the rabbit was no longer to be seen. She found herself in a long hall that was lit up by a row of lamps hanging from the roof. There were doors all around the hall, but they were all locked. Alice walked sadly down the middle of the hall, wondering how she was ever going to get out again. Suddenly, she came upon a little three-legged table made of solid glass. On it was a tiny golden key, and Alice's first idea was that this might belong to one of the doors of the hall, but it would not open any of them. However, on the second time around, she came upon a curtain she had not noticed before. Behind it was a little door about 15 inches high. She tried the little golden key in the lock, and to her great delight, it fitted. Alice opened the door and found that it opened into the loveliest garden you ever saw. She longed to get out of that dark hall and wander among these beds of bright-colored flowers and those cool fountains, but she could not even get her head through the doorway. And even if my head would go through, thought poor Alice, it would be of very little use without my shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope. I think I could, if only I knew how to begin. For you see, so many unusual things had happened that Alice had begun to think that very few things were really impossible. She went back to the table, and this time she found a little bottle, which certainly was not here before, said Alice. Tied around the neck of the bottle was a paper label with the words, "Drink, drink me," beautifully printed on it in large letters. After debating the wisdom of following the bottle's instructions, Alice ventured to taste it. Finding it very nice, she very soon finished it off. Leave it on her. What a curious feeling, said Alice. I must be shutting up like a telescope. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through the little door into that lovely garden. But when she got to the door, she realized she had forgotten the little golden key. She went back to the table for it, but found she could not possibly reach it. When she had tired herself out with trying, the poor little thing sat down and cried. Come, there's no use in crying like that, said Alice to herself rather sharply. Soon her eye fell on a little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found a very small cake on which the words, "Eat me," were beautifully marked in currants. I'll eat it, said Alice, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key, and if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. Either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which happens. So she set to work and very soon finished off the cake. Curiouser and curiouser, cried Alice. Now I'm opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Just then her head struck against the roof of the hall. She was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once picked up the little golden key and hurried off to the garden door. Poor Alice. All she could do was lie down to look into the garden with one eye, but to get through was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again, shedding gallons of tears until there was a large pool all around her, about 4 inches deep. After a time, she saw the white rabbit return with a pair of white gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry. Oh, and there she is, stuck in the small hall because she's 9 feet tall. He was muttering to himself, "Oh, the Duchess, the Duchess. Oh, won't she be savage if I kept her waiting?" Alice said in a low, timid voice, "If you please, sir." Startled, the rabbit dropped the white gloves and the fan and scurried away into the darkness as fast as he could go. Alice picked up the fan and gloves and began fanning herself. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. She looked down at her hands and was surprised to see that she had put on one of the rabbit's little white gloves while she was talking. How can I have done that? She thought. I must be growing small again. She found that she was not about 2 feet high, that she was now about 2 feet high and shrinking rapidly. She soon determined that the cause of this was the fan she was holding, and she dropped it just in time to avoid shrinking away altogether. So she got small again. Oh, and that is the end of our chapter 1. So chapter 2 is a caucus race and a long tail. So be sure to tune in next week for the second chapter of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And I hope that you find this a fun thing to listen to, and that you'll maybe come and get a Mad Hatter Tea Party bag from the Davidson Interpretive Center. We hope you enjoy your day, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.